Welcome to a special episode of the Delvin Cox Experience, shall I say. I'm your host, Delvin Cox. We got an all-star lineup here. Let me just, instead of getting into formalities, I'll let you guys go from left to right. Mikey, you go first.
Well,
let me clarify. Let them know who you are and your podcast so they know where to find you at.
I'm Mikey Famine. I am part of the TheBend podcast, Nat One Heroes. I'm a producer for Needless 604 Atheists, and I'm also a co-host on DigOnAmerica.
He does almost as many podcasts as I do. To say
about 1/3 as many. Yeah.
Also, you go ahead, Mike. I guess
nothing around your own people.
I thought it was 3 mics. So which one?
I'm gonna call country boy, and I'm gonna call you Mike I'll call Mikey. That's how I figured it out.
That'll work. So you can find me. I'm one half of WUDUPDOE podcast, and I got a YouTube channel called OneMike. That's MIKE, and you can find that on YouTube. Just search OneMike, and you can find WUDUPDOE wherever you find your podcast.
Also, I guess you can go, Otis.
Yeah, I'm Otis. Twitter is Angry Detroiter. I'm the other half of the WUDUPDOE podcast, and I only have one podcast. That's it.
You fucking lazy fucking bum.
Exactly. The nerve of this nigga. Exactly. What the fuck you think you are? One podcast.
I've been called the Jamaicans of podcasting. So every time I see you, got a new podcast. Go ahead, boy.
All right, country boy, you go ahead, brother.
Of course, I'm country boy. I guess I was the host of The Cut. We on like indefinite hiatus, but it's fine.
They fired you. Just call what it is.
They did fire my ass.
Them niggas fired.
I mean, they were sick of my shit. I was sick of their shit. We just went our separate ways. But I'm also the host of OneMike Black History, which is the blackest podcast in the game. You can find more at OneMicHistory.com. You can also find me at Twitter on OneMicHistory or on IG at OneMike_history.
That's it. So let me get into what we came to discuss. I feel like since it's Black History Month, I wanted to have a kind of a roundtable discussion about Black men in America, what's going on, just temperature. We're not doing a 5 for 5 today because honestly speaking, this whole thing is going to be a 5 for 5. We're going to have a whole discussion about Black culture, what we can do to improve it. What are some of the challenges that we kind of experience as Black men in America, especially this America specifically, because this America has not been favorable to us. And we'll get, for those who don't understand why, we'll get into that and kind of give you some more clarity. This is for people who want to learn. So if you're willing to learn about Black culture and the importance of Black men in this society and why we're here and why we're having this conversation, stick around. I think you can learn something. So let me start off with the first question. We'll start with you, Mikey, with this question. And you guys can go around the round table and we can discuss it. What do you think, in your words, is the expectation for a Black man in America?
Oh, wow. I'm glad you picked a really easy question.
I told you I'm going for the juggler in this episode.
That is not a layup.
Yeah, I thought we were warming up here. Everybody's
right.
2 lines, the layup, you get the rebound, you kick it out to the next guy.
That might have been the warm-up.
Right, and then you get into that line, and then you get to do the layup. Like, what am I what are that?
You can say what are your expectations because you are a Black man and you are in America, so you apply.
So what are America's expectations on me?
Well, let's start with
this.
I have multiple points of it. Like, what's the expectation from you in terms of your house, in terms of how you take care of your family and things like that? Because there's different kind of expectations that they hold for us as Black men in terms of being husbands, fathers, in the work culture, when we work at our jobs, whether we have high-class jobs or lower-class jobs, and also the expectations from America in general. I think we should start with America in general because the climate, like I said, the climate that we have today, there is a stigmatism on Black men that I think needs to be addressed. And who better to address it than Black men? So let's just have that conversation.
Okay. We started with the U.S. We're all suspects as far as I'm concerned. Just like homie up in Minneapolis, Alme, he wasn't even on the warrant. Black suspect. Seen a dude got stopped by the cops. Oh man, them cop videos, that shit is addicting. Don't do it, y'all. The algorithm will get you. You'll never get out.
Yeah.
Please laugh. Somebody, something. Wow, so tense. I gotta use humor to get out of this really awkward question.
I told you I'm coming straight with it this episode. Like, I'm not pulling no punches.
I mean, we're expected to be perfect and safe and docile and entertaining and charming, but safe and weak and perfect.
Yeah.
I think you kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
Even if we just throwing it on you, I think you kind of nailed the fact that there is. Well, let me let everybody else answer first. Country, you go next, brother.
Ah, man. The problem that I have is that the expectations for us are exceedingly low. Like they almost expect for you to be simultaneously perfect and trash at the same time. Like if you have interaction with the police, you need to be perfect in every movement and everything that you do. You can't make any mistake or you gonna get 67 bullets in your ass. That nigga twitched and it's a wrap. Like I'm terrified. But on the flip side of that, in a societal standpoint, they don't expect shit from you. They expect you to be, to not take care of your kids, out here selling drugs, robbing people, and that's not that climate. And while you do have some Black people who live that life, that's not my life, and I should not be judged by their life. Like when you meet me, when you see me, when you pull me over, I'm not the motherfucker you arrested 2 hours ago. I'm so a completely different person. And this is the problem that I have with white society is they are judged by as individuals. You know what I'm saying? You don't arrest Jeffrey Dahmer one day and now every white person is fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. They don't get that. But me, the guy you arrested earlier, I am now him. Now you're worried. Now you got your hand on your hip. Like, hold on, champ. I don't have no beef. I just want to go home to my family tonight. Whatever I need to do to make that shit happen, I'm okay with that. I'll fight the rest of that shit in court. But today, if you want me to be chill during the traffic stop, I will be chill.
Makes perfect sense. All right, Otis, you up.
As I got pulled over today, and I was thinking like, fuck. Like, why is this Black man pulling me over in Black History Month? But
the damn, it be your own people.
I was mad as hell, man.
He pulls you over like you wearing that nigga tie.
Right.
Going to work. Somebody.
Yeah, I mean,
get your Black ass out
it's
the car.
crazy because that's the first time I think I've been pulled over by an actual Black person in a while. And usually I'm so like, in our climate, I'm just like, am I gonna get out this shit like alive? Type shit. But anyway, I think the expectation is just to comply, just to be what's the word? I can't think of, a word to really describe it. Just a compliant nigga, just quiet, just subservient, docile, what I'm saying? Don't say too much, what I'm saying? Don't do nothing too crazy. I think during like maybe last couple of years with a lot of the different the killings of, George Floyd and other people, I've had a conversation with my wife and her expectation was like, I just want you to come home. I got a stepson that's 23, he can get pulled over. He can get into any other shit, that's just out here. And it's just like, just make it home alive. And it's just sad that that's the expectation is that when you leave out the house, you got to wonder if like, am I really going to make it back home from random ass, getting pulled over or, some road rage or, some white person feeling like they want to play police officer and shit, you know what I'm saying? And it's fucked, dog.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
I guess that leaves it up to you, Mike.
Well, I mean, y'all didn't give me too much left to say, but
I
do kind of want
to.
Yeah, no, I am going to kind of like piggyback on what Mikey and Country Boy said because the idea of being safe, I was going to mention that, and then I also wanted to mention too the idea that the expectations of us are so low. Like we're expected to, not be there for our kids. We're expected to. You look at Twitter, we out here, having high demands for women and not bringing shit to the table, all kinds of different negative perceptions that people have of us. But then on the flip side, you go to work or something like that, we have to counteract that perception by going to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. We can't even be, we don't necessarily have to be that like we can't necessarily be ourselves. We have to be like this to the complete opposite end. Like you got to be really jovial, really fucking friendly, safe, somebody who's not gonna intimidate somebody. Like you have to be that just to get like half the fucking respect and leeway that everybody else gets being themselves. Like we have to walk on eggshells everywhere we go to combat that perception.
You could never get mad at work. I didn't even think about that, but man, exactly
it's
right.
like you have to be combating that perception at all times, because the default is going to be, is this motherfucker gonna get violent? Is he gonna pull out a gun on me? Like we have to counteract that, but like most of us ain't even like that, and we definitely not like that in fucking work and shit.
Yeah, they don't know that shit.
Right,
that's the same problem.
I use that shit to my advantage. I'm like, okay, he's really angry now. He's at stage 4 or 5.
You know what? That
excel. I don't even. But they ain't had no black mama growing up, so they don't know what's up. Man, I'll put on that fake mad impression so fast. They'd be like, oh shit, man, shut the whole wing down.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that we're expected to kind of like live up to this perception of if you're not that person, the low life, you have to be
perfect,
kind of like perfect, but like what white people perceive as the safe kind of Negro. And it's like we don't I don't like having to be an extreme version of any variety of black person, whether that's the low life angle or the super fucking I'm wearing my fucking my fucking slacks and shit to work with a fucking bow tie and dancing and shit. How's it going, Mrs. Boss? Like I don't want to have to do that shit neither. So like
looking like Michigan J Frog.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Du Bois talks about the dual consciousness of us having to be two different people at the same time, where you're playing that black side, but you also have to play this role that white people believe you to be, or this docile Negro that they're looking for from you. And both of that shit sucks. Like I don't really want to be all of either one of those things. Exactly. I grew up as a kid who they used to call me fucking White Mike, because I didn't live up to your expectation of blackness. But the white folks, when they saw me, they were like, nigga, you black. Nigga, you blackity black. So I didn't fit in with either one of them motherfuckers. I'm presently in a group chat in which I am White Mike. Like that is that's what I get called, man. But just like you said, like you hang around, I don't get that kind of treatment nowadays around white folks. They don't look at me like, oh, he's safe. Like no, and I mean, and granted, part of that is my introversion. Like I come off very like I don't want to talk to people, which I don't. So like I do feed into that perception a little bit, but I mean, but that doesn't mean I want to have to be fucking perceived as some kind of fucking criminal or some shit either, just because I'm not fucking Michigan. I'm not super militant either, just because I don't want to talk to you right now.
This is kind of why I like having this conversation, because
hey, real quick though, they don't know that. So you can use all that to your advantage. They don't. That is true. They don't. I'll use that same. They think I'm so hood. I'm so like, motherfucker, I rent a townhouse in the suburbs.
I grew up in the fucking suburbs, man. I'm not
so
hood
like,
at all.
I'm not. And then like I'm up in Chicago now. I'm from St. Louis. I'm like, what part of Chicago do you think I'm from? I'm just curious. Yeah, none side. The very south, the 300 miles south side. I'm from a totally different city, but everyone assumes that I lived in Chicago and did this and was from there. And I was like, no, you got it all. None of that is right. But they don't know that.
Yeah, doing this podcast has opened my eyes to so many different things. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. When I first started this podcast, my whole idea was uniting the culture through diversity. Thanks to Chaffee for that, by the way. But talking to different people from different cultures and different backgrounds. And I think one of my mistakes early in the podcasting, and it's going to sound crazy saying this, but let me phrase it this way. Not having enough black people on my podcast. because I knew so much about Black culture, I kind of seeked out other different races and groups to talk to on the podcast. But in doing that, I kind of alienated my community in terms of how Delvin Cox experience for a good while was only telling one side of the story in terms of whether it was white people's side, Asian people's side, anybody else who I had on the podcast. So one of the things that made me realize that, honestly speaking, is having on Mike and Otis for the WUDUPDOE podcast, having them on, because even when I had like Bell on and stuff like that, it was one in a few, because most of the podcasts I knew at the time when I was doing this was white guys, white and Hispanic guys. So that being said, I became the Black guy that white guys can talk to via podcast. and in doing so...
Oh, you too, huh?
Yeah, exactly. In doing so, it opens your doors to some great conversations, but then it also opens your doors to a lot of naivete in terms of how people perceive you.
Yeah.
And how they like, oh, you're one of the good ones. I'm like, no, it's not about me being one of the good ones. No, we are all good ones. It's just, there are a few bad apples out there who do things just like there are with any race.
And they probably get too comfortable with you too.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I've had plenty of stories about that where people have gotten too comfortable and said things out of pocket, and then they see the other side of Delvin.
Was it the hard ER or?
Oh yeah, I got a couple of those via DM.
They was really out here. They out here Joe Rogan, ain't they? Just...
well, we gonna get to that, but yeah, I got a couple of those.
I work in retail, like I'm a retail manager, and I had one of my young kids, one of my high school kids. He said, little white kid, cool as hell, little Zach Galifianakis looking motherfucker, and and he said, "What up, Mikey, my boy?" I was like, "Come here, man. Let me tell you something. Come here." And I gave him to put the arm around his neck. I was like, "Don't you ever say that to me again. You have been spared this day."
Yeah. Well, since you brought it, let's get to it, because since you brought it, I want to bring this up, the whole Joe Rogan topic, because I got a lot of DMs about this, a lot of uncomfortable conversations.
Why isn't it okay, Delvin? Why?
Yeah.
Why can't I say it? They say it all the time.
One of the things I
had bought the record. I can say it.
One of the things I had to explain to people was how he only said monkey. He's called Planet with Apes. I don't think he's being serious. Like, do you understand the connotation behind that? You have to explain to people.
Dude, in Europe, at soccer matches, they throw bananas on the field at Black players. The fuck you mean that don't? That is a direct.
Australia too.
Yeah, they do.
I wouldn't want to throw a banana at a nigga that can kick that hard.
Right.
Man, bro, he got stamina like you wouldn't believe. Your car is 2 miles away at the soccer stadium. He will catch you.
And speaking of Planet of the Apes, I watched the reboot. And you talking about some uncomfortable shit, because the apes were clearly niggas. They were clearly fucking niggas. And you watch, you're like, I don't know. I don't like neither one of these sides. I don't really want to be the monkey, but I don't like the people either.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's rough.
How that one monkey always talking with a cigarette in his mouth?
Right.
Why does he have
operator, bro?
Why does he have a pack of Newports in his pocket?
Has money in his shoe.
They had one scene in Planet of the Apes where they had one of the apes whipping the other apes. I'm like, nigga, that's like directly out of the slave handbook. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is page 8.
Right. Yeah. That is definitely page 8.
When I watched that, we were like, man, I gotta turn this shit off. This shit's not.
It's too much. It was too much. It was
better than me.
It was like watching 12 Weeks a Slave. It was too much.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this. When y'all first, because I already knew about the Joe Rogan shit a long time ago, because like I said, a lot of white people listen to the podcast, then they recommend, then they'll say this to me, "Oh, your podcast reminds me of Joe Rogan." This I've heard like years ago. Like, who? Then they slide me the Joe Rogan thing, listen to some episodes.
Absolutely not.
I'm like, no. Hit the N-word a couple of times. Like, oh, this ain't for me, Chief. Like, why did you pass me this?
full disclosure. Like before he got like bat shit off the reservation crazy. I did listen to a few episodes, but it's mostly because of the guests. Chill. It's mostly because of the guests. Like I think I listened to the one where he had Elon Musk and Mike Tyson, and he had a few other guests, and I'm like, well, shit, I like Mike Tyson. Let me listen to this. And when I'm telling you, like, he's the dumbest motherfucker you've ever seen in your life. Ever. He's like, you gave a monkey a show, and then he has amazing guests on. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm here to see Mike Tyson, but then you have this dude over here, and he's like, let me tell you about my life. I don't give a fuck about your life. I'm not here to see you. I'm here to see Mike Tyson.
I appreciate that country boy called him a monkey. After he called us.
Hey, and you see how that circle of life. I bring you back. I'm bringing it back around.
So let me ask you guys, what were y'all thoughts for y'all first seeing the quote unquote N-word compilation and all the comments that Joe Rogan said? Because I know a lot of people, and also the outpouring of support for him. Because there's a lot of support for him. And it's
they made a super cut. Like they put them all together and what?
They put them all together.
Yeah,
it was like nigga, Planet of the Apes. Nigga.
Yeah. It's like the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
The N-word.
The internet's is undefeated, bro. The internet's is undefeated.
And wasn't it India Ari who originally shared it though? Like the compilation? Like that makes it even funnier.
Yo. They made The Rock take back his defense. Like, never mind.
Yeah. And you know The Rock real middle of the road. He like,
yeah, I don't
know. I'm out.
I don't know where The Rock stands on issues, but I feel like he's probably on the fence of like I could be around the white people or I could be around the black people.
He's pretty much the male Ariana Grande. Like you don't know what the fuck he is. Can I say nigga around you? Are you black? I guess nigga. Like
I saw your pecs flex when I said that. Like,
right.
You got a big vein in your forehead.
Are you mad? Are you mad?
Are you vascular or upset? I don't know. I don't know what that is.
The Rock's interesting because once in a while he'll let you know he's black. Like he'll okay, here's this song with Tech 9. Like if you didn't know.
He lives in that comfortable space that we talked about earlier, where he can float on both sides. Like he's accepted by white folks, he's accepted by black folks. He starts leaning one way in one direction or another. Somehow it'll fuck his money up.
And exactly like he can't be too black. That motherfucker made a couple years ago the most money in acting for the year. Come on, man, I'm not fucking that money. If it had been me, I wouldn't have said shit. I'd be like, I'm sorry. I'm worth $200 million. Like, good luck, niggas.
Look, I'll apologize later.
Sagging. What can I say?
Right.
I'll apologize later, like Dave Chappelle did.
Right. Exactly. I will say this. I was really upset with was it Andrew Yang?
Yeah.
He was like, he can't be racist. He has black people on his staff. Who gives a fuck? Nobody give a
what
fuck.
does that even mean?
They got black friends.
I thought Andrew Yang was actually a pretty smart guy until that moment. Like
I
thought he was a pretty decent guy until that moment. And I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Like I have no expectations of anybody. Like when I saw that, I was just like, yeah, it's fuck. Because I thought he was a smart guy. And then he said that, I'm like, oh, motherfucker.
We gotta do a Control-Alt-Delete on Earth.
Yeah.
The shit is broke. No, nothing.
Dude, he's a descendant of people from Taiwan. If he would have said this shit about Asian people, you would have been upset. You would give a fuck how many Asians he had on his staff, how many Asian friends. And you know what? I'm sick of people using black people as a goddamn racism blanket. I don't give a fuck how many black friends you got. You can still be racist. You can have a black wife and still be racist. You can just like her ass. That's it.
Exactly. One of the things I learned from this past week, apparently, it seems like a lot of y'all are just saying this N-word just frequently because after the Joe Rogan thing leaked, they just started telling on everybody. They started releasing clips of Joe Biden, other random celebrities saying the N-words. I'm like, yo, why y'all doing this? It's like, you can't, it bothers me, and I got real upset about it when it all happened because I'm like, yo, y'all are really out here not giving a fuck about us, and y'all are showing us that y'all don't care about us.
You know what I'm surprised with? How long y'all been sitting on these clips, nigga?
Yeah.
Like,
How long? How many clips?
How many clips of Joe Rogan you just gonna sit on when he's saying the word nigga and you ain't gonna say nothing? You just gonna wait to put the compilation together? Like, why would you do that?
Another thing.
The masterpiece was not complete.
Right. Like, hang on.
I needed 2 more clips to hit monetization on YouTube. had to wait.
I needed the Planet of the Apes to put it all together, to meld it together.
I had a conversation with a person who's a white dude, and he was like, yes, exactly. He was like, why are they trying to railroad and cancel Joe Rogan and stuff like that? I'm like, look here, brother. If this was the situation where he was taped secretly or something like that, I can understand the kind of conversation about that and stuff like that. This is different because all this stuff was out there to the public masses that he released. Like all those N-words and Planet Ape stuff, that was on his podcast that he controls. He could have edited all that shit out and nobody would have been none the wiser. He chose to let that out there. And the fact that he chose to put down the Aftermath tells me that he did not give a fuck what we thought. At all.
Well, there was a clip where he was on the show, and he was at some point he said the co-host said "nigger" at the end or something, and he was saying somehow, you know, Spotify won't get me in trouble for this or some shit like this. Like Spotify is like the free speech, you know what I'm saying, platform or some shit.
I mean, they paid him $100 million. So $100 million, I'm gonna get all my money out of your ass.
I'm saying everything. Please fire me because I already spent it. The $100 million is gone.
It's gone.
You're not getting it back.
I bought a Jeff Bezos yacht. Like you can't get none of this shit.
I just wish they wouldn't apologize. Like because they're not fucking sorry. They're sorry that people are starting to go against them, but they're not sorry for saying this shit. I just wish they would just be straight. I would respect them more if they just said that's what I'm gonna do, and you know you can suck my dick.
I mean, I hear that. But at the same time,
I still want to like him more, but I would respect it.
I mean,
but he can't get his 100 milli back by you know, and that's the thing. Like they didn't even scrub the shit, like clean it up so we can get this deal or nothing. It was unabashed. It was unabashed.
I don't think Spotify even listened to his show. I don't think they gave him.
I don't think
there's no way you listen to this shit because if you listen to it, you've been like, hey, I got
those people can read
red flags.
Well, they looked at analytics. They ain't looking at no fucking episode.
Yeah.
And then the episode they deleted. Who the fuck was listening to that shit anyway?
He had one of the episodes they deleted. He had a guy on here that said that black people were predisposed to violence, and I'm like, oh, word from the colonizer that has conquered the entire world. Like. I remember I was reading a fact, and I'm not sure how true this fact is. Hey, y'all can quote. I'm gonna say Mike.
You can fact check it.
You can fact check it and say it's wrong. But I remember them saying that the most celebrated holiday all over the world is independence from England. And I'm like, ain't this a bitch?
Yeah.
Like that makes sense. It makes sense. How many countries across the world have been conquered by England and have a day to celebrate their independence from the motherfuckers?
That makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense. And you gonna tell us we the aggressive ones?
I feel like every country, almost every country has like an Independence Day from England.
Exactly.
So since we talking about it, let me talk about what's pissed me the fuck off about this shit. The thing that irritates me is that people have been saying, oh, these clips were taken out of context. As in, oh, maybe he was reading what someone else said, or maybe he was quoting a lyric or quoting a racist person that maybe they said that in a, whatever, like whatever context there is. And what pisses me off about that is that white people want to say niggas so bad that they created their own loophole to be able to say it and then clutch their pearls, and we don't accept it. And now they're coming out the woodwork talking about why is Joe Rogan being slandered? Why are you acting like you're some like doing the Lord's work for free speech or some shit? Like at the end of the day, you ain't supposed to say the fucking word, man. And why do you want to? Like, why are you creating loopholes that will allow yourself to say it? Like, why don't you just not?
That removes my I have privilege to say and do whatever the fuck I want in this country. And you will let me say this word one way or another.
One thing
about
I
have to trick you into it
is they live in a space where there's nothing is off limits to them. Black folks, and even now, we live in a space where there's some things that we just can't do. You just ain't gonna be able to do. You're okay with that shit. I know if I travel to Eastern North Carolina, that somewhere in between this space, I'm not gonna be able to stop at some of these motherfuckers. Like I'm gonna need to stop at a QT or a known gas station because I can't stop at Earl's on the fucking corner because this shit's sketch. But white people don't live in that space. They live in a world where they can do what the fuck they want, when the fuck they want. So the idea of a word that I can't say, like, nah, nigga, that can't be right. I got to be able to say it because I can do what the fuck I want.
Not even a word, it's anything. Like, my co-host coined a great phrase that white people can't conceive a world where they can't do what the fuck they want to do. And that's in every facet of everything. They want to do everything.
Once you hear that phrase that I said, you will now see that in so many different aspects of life. The idea of wait, I can't do that. What do you mean I can't do that? Who the fuck are you to tell me I can't do that? And like them creating this loophole and then getting pissed off when we don't accept it is indicative of that same dynamic. Like I can't get over how they have the nerve to be offended that we don't allow them to use that word. And to see comedians trying to cape for him, dog, like one, if that was part of his act, then I would at least understand them trying to cape for him. But like, this is shit he just said on his podcast, man. Like, why are comedians acting like it's an attack on we're out here, we're supposed to be saying the things that make you challenge how you look at the world. Like I said, like they're doing some high level, like they're doing the Lord's work,
like doing God's work, right?
Yeah,
that's motherfucker, your job to tell jokes
and all that, just to justify in their own minds why they should be able to say that word instead of just not saying it.
And I don't know where the Karens of comedy came from, but they're here now. And sorry everybody's King Hero, King Big Shit, Dick Swinging, Dave Chappelle is just as guilty as all the rest of them. They've somehow taken a job in entertainment and tried to flip it as if it's philosophy. And now their philosophy is unable to be criticized or silenced, even if it's hateful or wrong.
Right.
Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle. You guys are spitting fucking false, wrong shit. People are saying you can't say that. That's dangerous. You're endangering people's lives. Whether it's the transgender stuff or it's the fucking COVID stuff, you're endangering people's lives. You have to be responsible with your platform. They say
you got people killed.
I'm art.
Right. You got people killed. Especially
That's
Joe
not
Rogan.
Art.
Joe Rogan has actively killed people out here with his misinformation.
And then their whole fucking act is like farting dick and pussy and sex jokes. Yeah. And they act like they're just doing something great for the community.
Yo, exactly. Dave Chappelle told a joke about a baby selling weed on the corner. That's funny, motherfucker. That ain't art. If you don't calm your you ain't Erykah Badu, you not Mos Def, you're not Talib Kweli, you're not all the cool dudes you hang out with. You're Dave Chappelle. You're funny.
I would appreciate this shit.
Hey, baby. Got your whole life ahead of you, nigga.
Stop saying I got kids, nigga.
Well, yeah, I do agree with that. It's this. I think, to be fair, I think Dave Chappelle plays a big part into it in terms of how every comedian feels like they're a philosopher all of a sudden now.
Yeah,
like they just can't motherfucking tell jokes.
I'm actually kind of that whole Dave Chappelle shit, and I like Dave Chappelle, but
I love Dave Chappelle. He's my favorite comedian.
That space that he's in right now,
I hate it.
I don't like this shit.
I hate it.
I need you to tell simple ass jokes. Like stop trying to change the world, telling me about how you feel about society. I don't give a fuck about that shit.
There's no jokes. He hasn't told me one joke about the time he was down at the riverboat and he like made all this shit, won an alligator through a game of craps. Like, make it up, dude. Make up something that's funny.
Make this shit funny.
and when you don't,
shit funny.
And when you don't have anything to joke about, or you lose the speed off of your fastball, you end up just old man yelling at clouds about shit that you're really not fucking educated.
He went all Carlin on us. He went fucking George Carlin on us, where it's like, okay, there's some social commentary here, but I was expecting to be made laughed, and I haven't laughed at all during this shit.
Right.
Yeah, he kind of started doing what I was just saying white people are doing with the N-word. Like he's starting to kind of like create loopholes for himself to attack other people, like trans people and shit like that. And then when they are rightfully like, I don't appreciate you talking about my people like this, then he wants to come up with that same kind of thing, like he's doing the Lord's work and shit for censorship and challenging our perceptions and beliefs and
free
making
speech
us think.
absolutists.
Yeah,
that's what they call them. Free speech absolutists. You don't get to say everything all the time to everybody. Fuck you.
No,
you don't live by yourself. Go live out in the fucking woods if you do that shit.
I will say that black comedians have been able to get away with a lot of they've said a lot of wild shit. Yeah. So the idea of a black comedian get canceled, he said some wild shit. He's like, "What? Y'all could cancel me? But I'm black. You do know that I'm black." Right?
I think there's what's going on right now, and to touch on the Dave Chappelle thing, I think that we've reached the point, and I think the media plays a big part into it, where everybody feels like cancel culture is destroying our society. I personally don't think that. I think what's destroying our society personally is us. That's it. Us. I think we are destroying our society. What I mean by that is, a few years ago, after I want to say the 2016 election, is when it all started coming to light, whether you agree with who won or not. People felt empowered. The wrong people felt empowered. And they took the ball and ran with that power and felt like they can talk to people how they wanted to, any kind of way, and they could do more so than they did before. They could do what they want to any kind of way. And yeah, there's been things to combat that in terms of like the Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter and things like that. But they got more feverish with that because I said this the other day on a podcast. Whether you like it or not, America itself influences culture around the world. So when you have the leader of, because they call us the president of the United States, the leader of the free world. When you have the leader of the free world spouting hatred and nonsense and crazy things, a lot of other places are going to fall in line with that same thing, as we saw with Brexit and other things like that.
Or China and them calling it dude a nigga as he getting off the boat. Like motherfucker.
Yeah, and that's my point.
You person of color. You got a lot of goddamn nerve.
You got a lot of nerve talking to me like that.
We had that for 4 years of people these same people who didn't feel the power when Barack Obama was in office. Not because like I've said this before on podcasts, a lot of people grew up with Barack Obama. A lot of people didn't know there was a white president because their first 8 years of office was a black man as the president. So they kind of, racism was hidden a lot better there. And not saying that Obama didn't get racist, because people were being racist to him, very much so. But it wasn't as prominent as it is now. Racism and also, I think there's a level of toxic masculinity in that as well. Not only with white people in general, but in black culture, where they feel like because...
Oh yeah, we knuckle deep in that.
Yeah, because
insecure.
That's a big part. Because we're not fitting into this one box of what they define as a black man, they feel like they can attack that. And what I'm proud of this generation is there are a lot of black kids doing their own thing. You got Lil Nas X, who's openly gay, who's kind of doing his own thing and having fun, and people are attacking him for it because he's being who he is.
He's the king of Earth. He is the king of Earth. He is one Earth. He won.
I appreciate that, but at the flip side of it, like I said, because of toxic masculinity, you have black men trying to tell black men how to be black men.
You have everybody trying to tell black men how to be black men.
That is a good point.
Delvin, what I would add to what you said too, I would even say a lot of this kind of started with Obama.
I agree.
Not because of not anything that he did specifically, but I noticed immediately once he got elected, it was almost like white people regretted how much room they gave us to operate. And they were like, oh, now we fucked up. And now they put a nigga in the White House. And then I started to see a lot of more of that vitriol kind of start to like bubble to the surface a little bit. Like you saw him getting a little bit more outlandish. And I felt like that is what allowed somebody like Trump to become president. It was like a backlash to that. Like, oh, now
The
this guy is for us.
unblackening.
Yeah. Like this guy is going to help us get our shit back. Because that's how they look at it. They look at this as this belongs to them, this being this country. And they looked at it like this guy is going to help us get our shit back. Because now we're losing it when we allowed a black guy to become president. So I think like obviously unintentionally, Barack Obama in a way kind of opened the door for a Trump. Because it was very clear to me over that 8 years that white people were not happy about having a black president. And I felt like they reacted I know, right? They reacted in a way like, oh, we've been giving them this room to operate. We've been giving them this agency and
snatched us all back.
Keeping how we really feel buried deep down. And now look what it got us. It got us a motherfucker who middle name is Hussein in the goddamn White House.
Yeah, this shit like fucking Reconstruction all over again.
Yeah, and
like, hold on, nigga, we got a right to vote.
And then you look at it like the younger generation kind of adapted to Barack Obama, like like 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids when the whole Black Lives Matter movement happened. Most of those kids out there were young white kids. I know people are like, oh, they don't know what they're doing. No, that's because they saw a black man as president and they admired him. And they kind of learned, because of that, they learned right from wrong and saw all this stuff. Their eyes was open to what was going on. Like, you know what, this isn't right.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where we're at with this country today, where you have this younger generation who's all for change and equality, and this older generation who's in power, who's like, no, fuck that. We got to keep the old guard around. And I think that's one of the biggest problems we have in this country today, honestly.
Yeah, they could see themselves losing their stranglehold on this country. As more minorities come into this country from other countries, from Mexico or wherever, and black people continue to find footholds in politics or in film and television or whatever celebrity status, as they see more and more of us on television and in politics and whatnot, it feels to them like they're losing what they deem is theirs, which is ironic that they consider it theirs in the first place. But I think that's how we ended up with Trump, and that's how things have devolved into the world that we live in right now, why there's so much tension and anger and whatnot. And it comes from that, again, like I think like Mikey said, like about that just like all this shit is mine. I like, how do you even tell me this ain't my shit? Like, this is my shit. And yeah, I think that's a large part of what kind of like got the ball rolling on where we stand today.
So I'm gonna ask a simple question.
No, you're not.
Of course I'm not. You know I'm not.
right.
It's simple.
Like, word?
Oh, it's simple. How do we get rid of white people?
Right.
God damn it, Delvin. That's not an easy question.
Show's over. Show's over. Everybody go home.
Hey, yo, hear me out though. Pumpkin spice for Loco.
Ooh.
Give it 2 weeks, I'll be gone.
Hey, but you might get me. You might get me too, though. Like, I might be like, let's see what that tastes like.
I was gonna make her just thinking about this.
I was gonna just say Elon Musk. He making up spaceships anyway to leave.
Yo, do you know?
No, take the black people. Leave them here. What you talking about, bro?
We talked about this the other day when I was on the other podcast. They talked about Elon Musk because they're decommissioning the International Space Station. It's been up there for like 30 years, and it's like we're opening the door for commercial space stations. I mean, like, Elon Musk's of the world, Jeff Bezos of the world, creating a commercial space station where you can take your rich ass up to space. Like, hey, that ain't elitist enough. Like, hey, I already have everything else. Why don't I own space too? Like, man, there's no niggas in space.
Elon Musk tell people all the money. Hey, we're gonna take y'all to the Earth atmosphere. Say y'all in space, they come back down.
If I could build a fucking space station, it would be just like the fucking Justice League joint. Like, it would look just like it.
I think if I was making it, I would make it look like Martin's apartment.
But let me ask the question. I was going to ask.
Now, black asses knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yes, we did.
Absolutely.
How can we fix this problem in this country in terms of perception of black men?
Oh, I'm about to say that's the same thing I said, but never mind.
Oh man,
I had a different answer. I moved the green couch over to the left, but you had something totally different.
Most of black people's problems is socioeconomic. Like, everything you can see. when you look at other minorities and, you know, model minorities, they didn't have to deal with the same hate, vitriol, the same send these niggas back to the reset button every single time they do well in society. So they can come in and look like a model minority, and then it's like, oh, why can't you be more like the Asians? Like, hey,
But
we've been here for 300 years and you've been kicking our ass the entire fucking time.
But that's because the Asians roll deep. They stay in their own communities, and they're able to do that because they're able to transfer the culture from their homeland to here.
Yeah, and they had a culture
that is why we are so fractured, is because we were transplanted somewhere new. So our culture was stolen. It's gone. There's no records of it. There's no he was from this tribe, he was from this tribe. None of that is recorded. Those bonds, that culture is destroyed forever. It's gone forever. That's why it's so hard for us to stay together now. Like I guarantee if all of us was just chilling out, max and relaxing, all cool and all, shooting some b-ball outside of school, at some point we would start digging on each other. We would have to start cracking on each other.
Yes, that's accurate.
I mean, think about all the times you're like, someone tried to introduce you to someone new, and you're like, I don't know that nigga. Like, what? I have no connection to anybody. Like, we're friends. Like, you know what I'm saying? You might have friends, but somebody introduce you to somebody new. There's no instant connection with them outside of he's also black too. That's it. But other people, they have a sense of camaraderie where we all have a community where I know that person down the street. Not only that, but I feel comfortable enough with them watching my kids or them lending me money or all these things that just don't exist.
I support their businesses.
Yeah, I'll support their businesses, even though I'm not real like support black businesses. You know, like I'll support you if you're doing amazing. Like do well, have a great business, and then I'll support it.
Yeah. I guess I kind of try to answer Delvin's question.
Yeah, right. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, I was like, I forgot. I was like, wait, he
don't listen to me.
How do we repair?
I'm with this guy.
How do we repair the perception? Was that the question?
The perception of black people in society today.
I think I kind of look at it as like we outside the club and can't get in, right? But if we just out there like in groups of 1 and 2, there's not like we ain't never gonna get in. But if it's like 800 people outside, 800,000 people outside that club, and they want to get in, they're gonna get in. And I feel like if we can band together, and it sounds corny, but when I say band together, I mean like they can see us kind of like starting to mobilize. And I think that's another reason for part of the backlash we're getting right now. And I think that if we started to kind of like band together and like Mikey was saying, you know, like how the Asian people got they all fuck with each other, they all, they sell to each other, they got their own stores and neighborhoods, they support each other. If we did that and then use that mobilization to interject ourselves into places we're not at right now, that could actually affect some change. So like, you get black politicians here or there, but like, like get together where it's like we are actually putting people who aren't going to be corrupt in office, putting people in important positions of power where they can actually affect real change, because we're too fractured to do that right now. And if we could do something like that to where we can get ourselves in positions of power, we can kind of start to, I think, change the power balance a little bit.
I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say, without like the government giving niggas money, like, reparations. I mean, and with reparations, it doesn't have to necessarily be money. I think at least, if nothing else, they should be giving black people free educations. Like that should be like off the muscle. Like, hey, we fucked up. Here's some free college. Like, I'm sorry, we sorry. Just that.
No taxes.
Right.
I mean, they don't really value us like that.
No, they don't value us like
that. They don't value us like that. And then if you a student of any of the history and shit, the black shit that we had, they fucking burnt it down
every single time
years ago, from Tulsa to
several
fucking,
times. You can look
Florida,
at any self-contained black community ever. They fucked it up somehow. Like you could just hey, Mitchellville, South Carolina. That doesn't exist no more. What happened? How did white people fuck it up? Every single time it's something. How did you fuck this up this time? It's like we always point to, Black Wall Street because that's the most visible, but it's constant. every single time you have anything, because there was a bit of envy, especially when you look at Tulsa. They were looking at Tulsa and like, yo, why do they have it so nice? Why is it so good over there? Why are they doing so well? Yo, fuck that shit.
Go fuck
And
it
that's
up.
and that's the
Fuck that
same
shit.
and that's what happens to any subculture when their dollar gets turned over 10, 11 times in the same neighborhood before it leaves the neighborhood, when everybody is looking out for each other. Like the Chinatown is the Chinatown. Ain't no motherfucking signs in English. You better have cash. Like they got their rules and obligations of how it goes down if you're trying to do business over here. Where is that for us? We don't have that. We don't have concentrated efforts towards Black empowerment economically built in every city, like there are Chinatowns or Old Jewtown and all that stuff. Like they have all that stuff.
Old Jewtown?
That's a place?
It's
I was like, wait,
was
what?
say, that feels racist.
That's why I said, I'm like, Old Jewtown.
Wait a minute. Did they come up with that themselves, or you just make that
Or
up?
is that what you call it?
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something that will get your black ass canceled quick.
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Do I need an edit point? We ain't finna Joe Rogan this shit. I need an edit point.
Listen to the sound of my voice. I'm Delvin Cox, and I stand by every word I just said.
But absolutely.
But either way, it's that sense of this is where we're gonna chill at, and we're gonna make sure our shit is right.
Can you imagine if we had all neighborhoods where all the signs was like ebonics and fucking like memes
Oh,
and shit like that?
everything was tagged. Like,
Look, we can't even have a good Martin Luther King drive. Every city got Martin Luther King drive. There's some fuck shit that's happening. So we can't even have a street.
When I get on Martin Luther King, I'm like, something I done fucked up.
Oh.
Something ain't right. Like, shit.
We got
but the country boy's point is we've had that in pretty much every city. We've had black shit there, and they fucked it up. Even in Detroit, even in Detroit, we had a black bottom area, Detroit, and they fucking bulldozed that shit and put freeways through there. So it's like every place has had Tulsa. It, and so just like Tulsa. And so my point was just every city has had that where you've had progression of black people, and now we got to have we have to have the Rooney Rule and everything in life just to be able to get some shit. You know what I'm saying?
The funny part about
go ahead.
No, I was going to say that, like I mentioned earlier, these other minorities didn't have the full beam of white hatred on them the entire time they've been here. Like when you have these Chinatowns, at no point did white people say, why the hell are these Chinese cats doing so well? Fuck this shit and burn it to the goddamn ground. But with black people, the minute you did anything that was a direct challenge to their white supremacy. If you weren't a second-class citizen, that meant they weren't first. So
why do you think that is specifically for us?
I have my theories. I don't know if somebody want to go first before I tell you my theories, but
please go ahead.
I think there's
I'm your new host. Question number 3. Why do you think?
What the fuck is that?
I think there's.
Yo, pass the mic to Delvin, yo.
I think there's always been an element of ownership of black people in this country, even like after slavery, through America's history with black people. When you go to slavery, when you go to segregation and stuff like that, there's always been this power that they felt like they had over us. Like, oh, no matter how bad it gets for us, and they've been told this, we are always better than you.
Yeah. Can I interrupt real quick?
LBJ said that shit.
That's where white comes from, is when it was the immigrant Italians and the Dutch and not the Germans. The Germans had money, but it was like there was a way of separating the poor whites from the good whites, because they had to make them better than black, the freed, so they had to be better than them. So I know you're an Italian, but you're white, so that'll do. Like that's where that separated, because everyone was referred to by where they came from. They weren't called Americans. They didn't call themselves white people. It was the coloreds and this Italian fellow or this German fellow, this English fellow. No one ever talked like that until the slaves are freed, and then all this nonsense starts happening.
Yeah, and then everybody who used to treat like niggas got co-opted into being white.
When they're part of the clan now.
Yeah, you're right. You treat the Irish like shit, but hey, today you want to be white? as long as you treat niggas like shit, you fine. Come on over.
You with us.
You with us.
And then you kind of add to it the fact that, unlike what happened with the Native Americans, a white America came over here, took over the land from them. They couldn't really fight back. Black people rose up out of slavery.
They had ultra COVID, man. Back in them days, they had tuberculosis and shit.
They really did. Black people fought back and kind of won. They, the war was won. Like, the South lost. They're losers. There has to be some resentment to that. The fact that black, out of everything that's going on in this country, because America is always about winning. They, like, all the wars they talk about, they still talk about World War II.
Because I just did the episode of Reconstruction. Right after Reconstruction, the Confederate Southern state, they were mad than a motherfucker about not only losing, but about radical Reconstruction and enfranchising the Negro, and the fact that Democrats was getting voted out. They hated that entire shit. And then they were doing pretty bad. It was trash. They were broke because all of their money was tied up into that land and their slaves, and they kind of lost both of them. You know what I'm saying? And
then you're told to coexist with them.
Exactly. So they needed people who would be forced to work for free. So you ended up with sharecropping and a system where black codes where you had to work for a white person or you would get arrested and end up convict leased. So this entire time, like even from the end of slavery, it moved from slavery to another system of how we can subjugate black people and use free labor to keep them in check. We still need cheap labor. Black people are still here. We're going to make this happen, whether or not they like it or not. We're going to force them to. So it was always just some type of slavery. And even now, America's built on free labor. It may not be just about black people, but the idea of you working for peanuts at McDonald's, we need that. We got to have that. You want your 99-cent cheeseburger?
And I can't pay him then.
And that's kind of what's going on now, where a lot of people are like, fuck this. I'm not working in this job, not making no money. And I think that's kind of what's happening in the country now. People are realizing, like, why am I doing all this hard labor for fucking pennies while you're making billions?
Right.
Yeah, I also think, too, that there's probably like an intimidation factor in there as well. Because, like, they looked at us, back when we were, subservient, all the things that, they look at our women. Oh, the women are beautiful. The men are big and strong and handsome. They got big fucking dicks dragging across the ground. And it's like, oh, when we were subservient, it's like, we could use this to our advantage. This shit don't matter. But now that we got our
slide. Hold on.
No. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
It's like I got a visual as he's saying this shit.
Whoa, I didn't get a visual.
Through the dirt, through the dirt road. Just
he's walking down the gravel road. That motherfucker swinging around
like an elephant.
You know what made me even think? You know what even made me think to say that was when I think it was Chris Rock that made the joke that, like, look, if LeBron played hockey, he'd be good at it too. He's like, he just slapped the puck with his dick. That's what made me think of that. But then, like look how we dominate culture. Like, everything we do is cool. It's imitated. We are just like copied, emulated, all that kind of stuff. So when I say like an intimidation factor, it's like they look at, like, we give these motherfuckers any kind of agency whatsoever, they go fucking run this country, dog, because they're so fucking cool. They're like, like I feel like they just look at it like, we lame as fuck. They're super fucking cool. We can't allow them to, like, really take off.
How they, like, go back to Africa? If we went back to Africa, what the fuck would you do? You ain't never had an original thought in your life.
Otis, did I not? I swear on God, I said that on our podcast one time, dog. Like, if we went back to Africa, how would they know? They wouldn't know how to dress. They wouldn't know how to talk.
They'd be watching African YouTube trying to figure out shit.
Like,
they wouldn't have NBA no more.
NBA be gone. Half the NFL gone. The whole,
like, why the whole NFL just quarterbacks now? Like,
exactly.
Can't nobody catch.
Everybody in the NFL just NBA just shooting 3-pointers the whole fucking time. Nobody going
3-pointers and layups.
Yes.
Everybody on the 5'5", they all scrappy. Deceptively athletic.
Bunch of and here's our logo, John Stockton. The whitest man that has ever been.
Yo, to circle back around to what you were saying earlier, because I found a quote by Lyndon B. Johnson. He said that if you convince the white man that he's better than the best colored, he won't notice as you pick his pocket. Hell, I'll give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you.
That was the motherfucking president of the United
States said that shit. I'm like, nigga, it was that obvious. It was that obvious to him. It's obvious to everybody, except for us. They try to act like this shit was all balanced and fair, and everybody knows shit is fucked up. And we say something like, nah, it's not that way. I
really kind of believe at this point there's a not 0% of white people. I'd say not below 30% of white people who actually really believe that everything is cool. And everything I see on TV is just Democrats trying to get me mad about something that doesn't exist. I think some of them are literally that naive that they are so, and this probably goes back to our education system. They are so mistaught and so misguided about everything that has to do with this country. If you tell them anything legitimate, they go into complete rejection mode. Like it just stops. It's like, no, you're lying. You're lying. That is from CNN, and I don't have to believe it because from CNN.
Have you
You're
ever
right. That's
told
why Trump worked.
Yeah,
right. That's why it worked. They refused to believe that this was actually the case.
Have you ever told a white person that the founding fathers weren't great people? They weren't gods. They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you. Matter of fact, they're not even that bad. They were assholes. They were terrible people. You
Fuck
ever
them.
like the fact that the founding fathers weren't superheroes? That shit's like steam come out their ears. Like, nah, man, they're trash.
That's so crazy too, because like I think about that anytime something comes up in political discourse about gun laws or something like that. They always harken back to like 1776
fathers
to why we can't change anything right now, as if they got it right. We got it right 200 years ago. Like we good. Like we don't need to worry about that.
Like they ever expected you to be able to search things on the internet. They have a fucking computer. They had no idea what the hell you were dealing with.
To shit inside the house. Like,
exactly.
And it's funny because you say that too. You also say that because they don't think anything should change when it comes to that, but everything else evolves. Like you don't even build a house the same way you did 200 years ago. You know what I'm saying? You don't do any of the shit you did, 200-300 years ago the same way. But them fucking rules and amendments and all that shit, you know what I'm saying, shouldn't be altered. And that shit's bullshit, dude. Like they've been represented so well as that when we start talking about representation and things, like, there's been a whole bunch of backlash for them wanting a black Supreme Court judge. Like they don't get it for representation because they've been represented unadulterated for years.
You ever seen people talk about NAACP and like, hey, we should have a white NAACP? Like, motherfucker, what is your life? Your whole life is white NAACP. How can you be upset?
We have that. It's called the Klan.
Right.
Now there's BET, but where's WET? Am I right?
It's had every fucking thing, everything.
I shouldn't be telling the story, but fuck, I'm gonna tell the story.
Grab my beverage.
Okay.
And he had to take a deep breath. Shit,
Okay.
I know, right?
I work in property management.
Mm-hmm.
I work in property management. The building owner of this is an older white lady. Where I live at is an older white lady. She's like in her 90s. Sweet lady. She's been essentially a part of our family for like forever, because my grandmother worked for her in like her husband in like the 50s.
Pay?
Yeah, for pay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
like
this is sounding real slavery-ish. I just want to let you know.
Well, let me get to that. It's like
she was part of our family. My grandmama worked for her. Like where's this going?
My grandmother worked for her for like 50 years. At least 50.
90 or 190?
No,
that changes things.
She's 93 years old. So every morning she calls the office to make sure everything's okay and things like that. Really, she's calling because she wants to talk to somebody, because nobody wants to talk to her because she's an old 93-year-old woman. So she calls to talk to me about things and ask me questions. So one day she calls and asks me, Delvin, why is there this black station? Like, what do you mean? I'm watching TV and they keep promoting this black station. I think it's called All Black. It's a internet station. It's called. She said, why are they promoting this all black station? Do they not allow whites on the station? I'm like, what do you mean by that?
How the fuck did you answer that?
She was like, can white people not watch the station? I don't understand.
Hell
like, is
no.
it? I had to sit there and explain to her why was it necessary to have a black TV station.
You should have got super militant. Like, nah, bitch.
And if I ever hear that you was watching that shit, I'm telling somebody.
But
she, like Delvin informally used to be working here.
Exactly.
But
Delvin no longer works for this.
She could not grasp the concept of why black people need diversity. Why do they need the stations where the majority of the cast members and people who work there are black? She could not understand that. I'm like, look, Miss Ash.
How did you ever explain this shit to her?
It took an hour. I had explained to her, like, hey, I said, do you watch TV? Do you understand that most TV shows and networks don't cater to black people? There are a lot of TV shows that don't cater to black people. And when the black people are on those shows, they're usually the suspect. The maid is like that. So this is one of the many wild conversations I've had with her, by the way. Imagine me trying to explain to her why blackface is bad. That was actually another thing I had to have a conversation with her about. Oh, that was an actual conversation. But yeah.
When was the last time she saw blackface?
She watches a lot of Turner classic movies.
Oh, shit.
Yesterday, get off that channel. She need to get off that channel.
Oh, shit.
Here's Nickelodeon. Never mind.
But it's just so interesting that there's this generation who don't understand diversity and the importance of diversity and why you need to have black people in position of power so they can see their own self. One, if you are an owner of any business, why would you not want to hire black people? Because it's going to bring more black people in. Whether it's TV shows, networks, stuff like, look how popular Power is. Look how many people were talking about Power, and what was the other show that people, Empire. Look how popular Empire got. Just because it infused black culture and it introduced it to the masses.
Look at Medea.
Yeah, Medea. Whether you like Tyler Perry or not.
Atlanta, all that shit.
Black culture affects America. And one of the things about why it affects America, because black culture is America. You brought us here as slaves. And out of that, we made the American dream. We made this perceived thing that you call the American dream. We made it a reality. We came up from nothing in this country and made something out of that. We were thought of as livestock, fucking cattle. And we came from that to become entertainers, doctors, lawyers. We define the culture. We are basketball players. We are pro wrestlers. We do everything that y'all never thought we could do. And y'all still shit on us. And that's my problem I always have with things in the society today. We provide your entertainment. A lot of us we provide your medicine. We provide your food. But yet you still find a reason to hate us?
Absolutely.
We are naturally a part of this country. We are Americans. You can't say black American. We are fucking Americans. Because we were brought here without our permission and we adapted and made this country ours. This country is ours just as much as it is yours and anybody else's here.
You're gonna get canceled for saying that.
Yeah. Probably. I mean, I would make the argument that, and you know, of course, I wouldn't say this on other podcasts, but I make the argument that we're more American than they are. You know,
that's a fair argument.
We built.
I mean, not only do we build this shit on our backs, but when you're talking about the American dream and the pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, who's pulled themselves up by their bootstraps more than black people?
It had to do it twice as hard, twice as much, just to be on a somewhat playing field, and not even on the level playing field.
Right. It's just to even get to the playing field. We had to climb a mountain just to get to the playing field that you started on.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. Well, going to like the owner, it's like the disposition she have, the feeling she have, that's been going down from kids to kids to kids, and that's why they like the way they are, because they get it from somewhere.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They get it from somewhere. They get their racist ass great grandparents that see fucking black TV shows and understand why it's black TV shows or radio stations or whatever the fuck.
That shit, like when we talk about, you know, reparations, when Mitch McConnell's like, nobody here lived through slavery. No, fuck slavery. You ain't got to talk about that shit. You guys have been subjugating black people since after slavery for the other 150 years since that time. And if you even like, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was like, what, 2 generations ago? Up until that point, they could prevent you from voting, right? The Brown was avoided education was what, 1954, right? Integration didn't happen until a little bit after that. The people that are in those pictures of the Little Rock Nine or Ruby Bridges, the motherfuckers, that's their grandparents. They lived through that shit. They can see their grandparents on these fucking pictures. You know what I'm saying? So right, that's my mom right there. No wonder they hate critical race theory, because motherfucker, you were in it. You were part of it. You're the reason why we're here. You're still there. Like no wonder they still have that hatred. That shit is learned. They only like 1 or 2 generations from lynching your black ass.
Yeah.
My mom, like
shit in 2022, they're about 1 or 2 months from lynching your black ass.
Yeah, right. Right. Because I mean, look at Ahmaud Arbery. This shit was just a modern day lynching. Like we think lynching like you hanging your black ass from a tree, but lynching is just like a killing, basically.
Yeah. Like I call my mom every day before my show, or every week before my show, and we always rap for about like an hour or something like that. And it must have been like maybe like 6 months ago. She was like, "Oh yeah," and then 3rd grade, it got integrated, so we went to a different school. I'm like, "Wait, you went to a colored school?" She was like, "Yeah, until 3rd grade."
Wow.
I was like, how did you never tell me this?
Yo,
tell me you went to a colored school?
It's funny you mentioned that, because I think I might have told Delvin this. My grandmother is, she light. You can't tell her. You can't tell from me, but she real white passing. Like for years, I thought she was white because she's that fair skinned. And my aunt asked her, like, have you ever thought about white passing? About, you know, she was like, no, I don't need nothing for the motherfuckers. I was like, that's what I'm talking about, God damn it. I love it. I love it.
All right. I'm gonna give anybody got anything else to say before I give us one final question? That's
because my wife will knock on this door, so you need to wrap this shit up, B.
One final question or comment. Eminem versus Busta Rhymes. Who wins?
Stop playing with me right now.
You got 2 Detroiters on this motherfucker. You gonna ask that whole ass
Eminem will watch this nigga. I don't know what was going on with that goddamn thread. I don't know what they was drinking. But if you like this platform of Eminem in a battle mode, this is what he was built for. This is his life.
Is this a versus? Is this a versus or a battle?
It's gonna be a versus.
Now hold on. Don't be sleeping. Oh, not. Yeah. Come on, man.
Shit. That's my shit. I ain't gonna lie.
Then wait. Here we go. Boom.
Busta got hits.
Boom. Busta has so many.
This ain't
it's only 20. It's only 20.
That's all you need. Yeah.
You can't do Mom's Spaghetti 20 times. I like Busta's chances. I like his chances.
I will say this. All you need is 11. All you need is
gonna make your body say, yeah. Come on, bro.
Yo, Station Level Event 2 was fire. Station Level Event 2 was fire too.
I think a versus does not suit Eminem very well, just because of the style of music that he makes. The kind of I guess where it's held would make a difference as far as like whether or not you can really get the crowd jumping. But even then, I still feel like I look at a versus as more like almost like a not necessarily a popularity contest, but like
it is.
It is.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
it's a barbershop conversation.
Yeah,
I mean,
so I don't feel like it suits Eminem.
If
it was a battle,
if
it was a battle, that's a whole different.
Eminem led with that Jada Kiss level of aggression, where I'm here to murder your ass. Then if M is just here to have a good cordial, hey, you play your song, I play my song, and we just match song for song, then it's gonna be Busta, because Busta got more of the radio friendly cuts. But honestly, before you get started, Eminem is honestly, in terms of record sales, really too good for Busta. Like he probably had Busta's total career record sales in like one fucking album. If anyone's ever actually looked at the number of albums that Eminem, he white, but he's
cheating.
He's got a ton of fucking albums.
That's a cheat code. That doesn't count. That's an asterisk. That's a Barry Bond asterisk. sorry. If he was like Puerto Rican or something, I'd be like, ah, shit. This motherfucker done changed the game. Fuck you, Pitbull. Is Pitbull from, I don't know. No, Daddy Yankee's from
Pitbull's from Miami.
Cuban?
Miami.
Cuban,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's Cuban, and then Daddy Yankee is from Puerto Rico, I believe.
You know, I saw him once when I went to Good Morning America, and he looked
he short?
exactly like the mother. Yeah, he's short as shit. And he
I
looked
thought
exact.
so.
Pitbull. I went on Good Morning America when I visited New York. Like, I wanted to go like watch a taping of something. And
Right.
I went on Good Morning America because then the motherfuckers that gave us tickets. And it was the day that Pitbull was on there, and one, Michael Strahan wasn't there. I was mad because that's the only person I wanted to meet. And they had fucking George Stephanopoulos and his short ass. And Robin Roberts left like halfway through, and I didn't get to meet her either. And then Pitbull came out, and he's like 2 foot tall in a fucking white suit. It was the most Miami Vice shit ever. He looked exactly like the person you think he is. He came out, I was like, damn, you like all Pitbull all the time. Like you.
That's really how you dress.
Yeah. You look like
that's really how you dress.
You look like an action figure of Pitbull.
Right. Fucking Miami Vice is shit.
Otis,
anyway,
you got to answer the question, Otis. Who think got it?
I think Busta might edge him with just popular hits. Me and Mike could talk about this numerous times of just verses and even being a Detroiter. You know, I don't think his songs would hit like that for verses back to back. No, I think battle wise he'd eat a lot of people up, but the verses
battle wise he everybody.
Yeah. But I just don't see it. I think it'd be entertaining though, but I think Busta probably edge him.
I think if he really wanted to win or at least have a chance at it, getting that 11. He'd probably be better off if he did his features on other songs.
That's what I was gonna say.
Like shit he did on like
I forgot about features.
Yeah, shit he did on like G Unit songs or Renegade.
Patiently Waiting, Renegade.
Forever. The song with Drake and all them. And like if he did that kind of shit, now it's a conversation.
I just don't really feel like the long run on. I can rap really, really fast shit is gonna anybody trying to hear that.
He needs to bring out his features. And
Busta
nothing from D12. Nothing from D12.
Features. Hold on, no. Busta got features.
He does, but he doesn't need his features. Busta got hits.
Eminem needs features for verses.
He need the features
badly because ain't nobody trying to hear that.
Hi, my name is.
Exactly. Around the outside. It's like,
get on stage.
M, not that one. Damn, Marshall. You always fucking it up.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you something. When I first heard Marshall Mathers, though, that shit like, it's like, yo, this. I was like, who is this white rapper? And two, this motherfucker is good.
He's really good, man. Eminem is.
I was impressed.
One of the most technically sound MCs ever.
Yeah, and it's crazy because he gets shit on a lot on Twitter.
Motherfucker was shitting on him on a podcast because he was too technically sound. Like, how the fuck you show somebody for being too good?
If Eminem were a brother, he might have been the GOAT by now. He wouldn't have sold nearly as many records.
If he was mixed, that would have been a
fucking
rap.
Logic.
that was actually gonna be my next question. Who's the better white rapper, Eminem or Logic? That's not funny. That's not funny.
It is.
Every Logic song, Logic is like, Logic. Hey, did you know I'm mixed? Like, we don't fucking care. Logic.
We don't care.
And I'm half black and half white.
We want you to actually rap better, Logic. That's what we want y'all to do.
Logic got hired by the Miami Dolphins.
Yo.
Hey,
somebody on Twitter was like, did they just run a 23andMe on this motherfucker? Like, how the fuck did they just come up with this motherfucker?
I told somebody, I was like, yo, they hired 2 black coaches. He was like, I saw Levy Smith, but who else? I was like, Mike McDaniel, black, man. His dad is black. He's like, ain't no fucking way he black. He might look like Logic, but
he kind of looks like my best friend who's mixed. So I was like, oh. Okay.
Oh, y'all think y'all taking over, huh?
Nah, the motherfuckers think that shit counts as a diversity hire. While his white passing ass walking around and people thinking he white. Like, hey, he's black. Get the fuck out of here.
That motherfucker been using white privilege all his life to the time when he needed to be something black, and now he's fucking black. What?
Now the Rooney Rule, he black. Get out of here.
Oh man, this has been a blast, yo, man. I guess let them know where to find you guys at. I guess Mikey Family, you go first.
I should probably get a bit.ly thing.
Yeah, that worked.
Yeah. Check me out on all these are on Twitch. Twitch.tv. DigOnAmerica, TheBend podcast. My name, Mikey Famine, and 604 Atheist.
There you go. Otis.
I'm gonna have to check out that atheist one.
Yeah.
Right. Yo, I can count on my hands. Let me black atheists I've ever met. I don't know.
Well, you got
one or two.
You got 2 on the podcast right now.
My God.
Get with me after this.
Oh wait, am I next?
Otis.
Yeah.
I'm the one with one podcast. What up, though? And yeah, that's it.
Mike.
So you can find me on my regular Twitter is @Michael_Aaron, AARON. I am also the other half of What Up Though. Yeah, Aaron.
I didn't want to interrupt. I want to say
the other half of What Up Though podcast. We record that on Wednesdays and drop it whenever the fuck Otis feel like. And then
when Otis got a minute, you'll get your next episode.
Yeah, and then on YouTube, OneMike for TV and film reviews.
Country boy.
You can find me at the Cut Podcast. This is where I keep all my foolishness. If you're looking for like business type stuff, where I just keep it blackity black with the Black History, you can find me at OneMicHistory both on Twitter. If you want to check me out on IG, I post a lot of Black History content on OneMike_history, and you can find all of my content on OneMicHistory.com. Once again, black is blackest podcast in the game.
I agree. And as always, Delvin Cox Experience, we are out. Peace.
Peace.